Hey everybody, today we are going to be talking about symbolism and how symbolism is everywhere and specifically how symbolism can be found in the literature that we read. So first of all, basic definition of a symbol is going to be something that represents or stands for something else. Now, the interesting thing about symbols is the symbol is the thing it is, but it is also something deeper than what it actually is. So let me give us as an example. Say you have a necklace and your grandmother gave you this necklace. It physically is a necklace, but it also symbolically to you maybe represents the love between you and your grandmother. So again, a symbol is physically itself, but it also can represent something beyond itself. Now, symbolism allows people to communicate beyond the limits of language. So we utilize symbols every day. If you think about it, you do not pull up to an intersection and have somebody yelling there like, everybody stop now, right? We know that green means go, red means stop, yellow means slow down. And because we are all aware of these symbols, we don't need to have a person shouting directions at us at each intersection. So symbolism allows us to go beyond language in everyday life, and also in stories, authors will use symbols to convey something to us, to get us to feel a certain emotion, to really evoke something out of us that maybe they couldn't just do by explaining the symbol outright to us. All right. Your interpretation of a symbol and the way you look at a symbol is going to depend on your personal background and your cultural background. So things that mean one thing for me might mean something different for you. So part of symbolism is there are symbols that are intended by writers when they're trying to get across a specific symbol. And one way to tell if something might be symbolic is if an author goes into a lot of detail describing something, there is a good chance that it is symbolic in some sort of way. But also, sometimes you might see something as symbolic and it might not necessarily have been intended by the author, but you are interpreting it that way. And so for you, you can kind of go with that symbol and try to prove that symbol. So again, that's the cool thing about writing and reading is it's an interactive activity. So the reader is going to sometimes interpret things differently than maybe the writer intended. All right. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some symbols that all of us are probably familiar with. All right, first up we have our symbol right here. Now, obviously, this is a symbol of the United States of America. Any flag that we see represents a country or some sort of organization. In this case, the United States. Now, it also, for a lot of people, might represent independence or freedom. So there are a lot of big ideas behind this one symbol to the point where if I gave the example in class, if I were to take the flag off the wall and throw it on the ground, people would have a very strong reaction to it. But if I grabbed another piece of cloth in the room and did the same thing, people might think I'm weird, but nobody would really care all that much. So symbolism, a lot of times symbolism does carry a lot of emotion, a lot of specific feeling towards a symbol, especially in this case with the American flag. Let's go ahead and take a look at another symbol. So here we got the thumbs up. Now, generally in our culture, thumbs up means all's good, like yes, I agree. However, we're going to talk about this more when we read Romeo and Juliet, but putting your thumb in the air at somebody is equivalent to giving somebody the middle finger. So in that case, if you're in Romeo and Juliet's time, going around giving people the thumbs up would not bode well for you. Now, same is true for symbols, gestures that we have that we give each other. Sometimes we need to be careful when traveling outside of our specific country or area because gestures in different places of the world might mean different things. So it is important to be aware of symbolism and gestures and what certain cultures and people believe that symbol represents. All right, and the last symbol we're going to take a look at here is the skull and crossbones. Now, we know that if we see this on, say, a product, a cleaning product, on anything, that it means, you know, this could be poisonous or deadly. So if I see this on a label, I am not going to go ahead and add it to my latte or, douse my body with it. That would not be advisable. So just in putting this one symbol on a label, you right away are telling people like, hey, don't drink this, don't eat this, don't consume this is dangerous, be careful. All right, now as we kind of talk through this, maybe try to think of some of the symbols you see in your everyday life or in movies or in literature. Now, there's a lot of common repeated symbols. So, like for instance, if an author or somebody filming a movie wants to represent peace, they might use a dove, or love, they might use a rose. So, yes, there are some repeated symbols. We also see that sometimes setting can be symbolic. So, the middle of the night in the woods. In certain stories, that might represent evil or lurking evil. So we get symbolism in a lot of different objects that we see throughout stories. Now, in our symbolism activity today, those that were in class doing this activity, we created our own personal symbols using Play-Doh. However, I know some of us at home might not have access to Play-Doh unless you are an avid Play-Doh artist, or maybe we have some little siblings. But if you don't have Play-Doh, you can create your symbol using any sort of mode you would like. So if you want to sketch it out or sculpt it in some other way, feel free. This isn't something I want you to spend a ton of time on. Basically, the big thing I want us to decide on is a symbol that represents us in some sort of way. So here's your task. First thing you're going to do is sketch or create a symbol that represents you. In class, like I said, we're going to use Play-Doh. Feel free to get creative with your symbol. Again, you can sketch it out, you can create it. Once you create your symbol, you're going to explain how it symbolizes you, and you're going to do so by completing the create your own symbol assignment. So this is listed in Buzz. I'm also going to show us what that looks like here right now. Alrighty, so here is the create your own symbol activity. Once you have created your symbol, you're going to fill out this create your own symbol handout here. So I'm going to get more into that in a minute. Let's go ahead and head back to our presentation. As you're trying to think through and come up with what you should do to create your symbol, my best suggestion is to start thinking of things that you feel are important to you. So that could be your values. So maybe you value courage, loyalty, honesty, and you could think of something that kind of symbolizes that. Or you can also start to think of like some favorite items you might have. So in the past, I've had people have like an item, maybe a ring or a jewelry box or a stuffed animal that was particularly important to them, that they were able to find qualities that match qualities that they possess. So it could be a favorite item you might possess. It could also be something that has to do with a hobby that you have or interest that you have that you feel represent your personality. So your symbol literally can be anything, but these are just some starting points. Now, with creating your own symbol, what you don't want to do is just say, I created this baseball because I like baseball. What you want to make sure you're doing is describe why that particular symbol represents you. So what I might say is every baseball has seams that keep the entire baseball together. Much like the baseball has seams, the seams that keep me together are my friends and family. So again, you're wrapping, you're trying to tie your symbol to qualities that you possess. Let's go ahead and take a look at some examples here. And again, these examples are by no means perfect. They're just some examples from past years. So here's the first example. This one is on a drone. So the person who created this example was very into drones, had a number of drones, enjoyed working on drones, and so he decided to use drone as a symbol. But he didn't say, I'm using drones to symbolize myself because I like drones. All right, so here was his response. The propellers represent my parents that help raise me to my potential. The motor represents my abilities that help me go where I need to go in life. The camera represents my eyes that help me see a better future. And the controller represents the way I act as my responsibility. All right, here's another example. And this is where this person I don't think was in love with duct tape or had any sort of, hobby involving duct tape. However, you can decide to choose just a random object that you think you can describe in a way that represents you. So this person said, I made a roll of duct tape because it sits alone in a drawer until it is needed. I like to be left alone until I'm needed, just like the duct tape. Duct tape is usually sticky, so it'll stay and bind things together. Just like me, if someone needs my help, I will stay there until another solution is available. I'm also there to help in almost any situation. Now, this presentation has a handful of other examples, so if you want to access it, please feel free to do so. This other example does, the student talks about the moon. Another example, they do a firework, a camera, and this one is throwing a football. So literally your symbol can be anything you choose to make it. Just make sure you can tie qualities that you possess with qualities of the symbol. Now let's go ahead back to that sheet. So again, you can access it through this presentation or it will be in your Buzz agenda. So I'm going to go ahead and make my way back to that sheet. All right, so now that I'm back to this handout, what I'm going to do, and after I've created my symbol, figured out what I want to do, I'm then going to fill out this document. So it says my symbol is a blank. So maybe I said my symbol is a skateboard, my symbol is a refrigerator, my symbol is a burrito, which somebody did say today. So you're going to select your symbol, and then from there you're going to list qualities of your symbol. So say I'm talking about a skateboard. All right, and so maybe I have a particular skateboard in mind. And so I'm gonna list qualities of that skateboard. So maybe I say like the board itself is very worn down. And then in the right-hand column, I wanna connect that with qualities that I possess. So I might say like, much like the skateboard, I've been through a lot and sometimes I feel very worn down. Or in this example here, it says a camera has multiple settings. I have multiple settings when it comes to my mood and emotions. So that's an example that someone had written in the past. So again, what you want to do in this left column is list any qualities of your symbol. And then here's where you connect it to qualities that you possess. Now, there are 10 different slots you can fill in. I want us to shoot for 5 to 6 of those slots. So I know you might not fill out all 10. That's okay. Shoot for filling out 5 to 6 of the slots. Once you're finished, this is where you need to make sure you're proofreading, writing in complete sentences. The chart, you don't necessarily need complete sentences. Just make sure it's clear how the qualities you listed for the symbol tie to qualities you possess. What you're going to do in this box then is compose a 5+ sentence response where you explain how your symbol represents you. So say you said the symbol that represents me is a goalpost. All right, well, in this box then you are going to explain how that goalpost represents you. Now, use the details above that you already came up with to help you. What you want to make sure of is that you're really explaining those details and using those details to help you prove how your object is a representation of you. All right, so that's today in a nutshell. Make sure you are letting me know if you have any questions whatsoever. Also, if you're able to do so, I know I mentioned this somewhere in the presentation, but especially if you either sketch out or maybe sculpt out your symbol, please try to take a picture of it and upload it to the document that you're turning in. If you're unable to do so, I completely understand. However, I enjoy kind of seeing our creative creations. So if you have it done and are able to take a picture of it and submit it, that's great. You will not lose points if you don't do so, but if you put the time into sketching it out, why not just include it in that document there? All right, that's that, and I will see you later. Thumbs up. For you guys, that's a good thing, right? Yeah. I'm not the Elizabethan thumbs up. See you later.